Guys, Chris here in sunny Spain. The last few days I've been filming myself working on a new art piece. I thought it'd be nice to take the footage, speed it up and turn it into a time-lapse video for you guys so you can see my process from start to finish. A lot of people have been asking me to make a video like this and explain the way I go about doing things, what tools I use and things like that. So hopefully you'll find this insightful. I'm going to basically be showing you how to turn a piece of paper like this into this. As you can see, it's Carnage from Marvel Comics. A while back I did a Venom piece, which a lot of people have asked me to follow up with a Carnage piece, so I thought this is the perfect opportunity for me to have a bit of fun and hopefully make a video which will be insightful to some other people. So if you enjoy it, give it the thumbs up, share, subscribe. All the feedback and comments, etc. is really appreciated, and it keeps me fired up, and hopefully I'll be able to make a lot more of these things if these are popular. So, fingers crossed this will come out okay. I'm about to go back home and edit it all together. So, cheers and thanks for the support. Peace. Right, before we begin, I thought I'd give you a quick rundown of some of the tools I'm going to be using. First up is the pencils. These are the Mars Lumograph 100 by Stayatler. Great little pencil pack. As you can see, some I use more than others. These are the Faber-Castell fine liners. I find these are great to mix in with a pencil. They have a nice true black as well. I found a lot of black pens tend to have a bit of a yellow sort of tone to the black, but these are a nice solid black. They're waterproof and go on nicely. You'll often see me using these Electroset Pro markers. This is the grey tone pack. There's quite a few different types you can get, but these are fantastic. You can build up the applications in layers as well, so you can it almost applies like watercolour paints in a sense. Almost a base tone for the pencils, and you can just work on top of them, and it's a great way to flesh out large areas of tone as well, like loosely and lightly. Fantastic. Come in a packet like this and they're really well priced, so definitely worth checking out. What else have I got here? These are the Magic Colour acrylic inks. I find these are really nice to mix in with acrylic paints. It gives a nice smooth application. I'll often use the black ink as a way to fill in large areas of dark tones, and the white I tend to mix in with white acrylic to pick out highlights at the end. Speaking of highlights, I also like to use these Uniball Signo white pens. I think it's a gel pen. These are really expensive. You can get them at most art shops, and they're a great way to sort of pick out little highlights, especially with more cartoony work as well. Nice little pens. I've been searching for a good white pen, and this is probably the best I've found so far. I think they cost like £1.50 or something like that. I also like to use a tuff brush to add the sort of splatter effects I like to do. Add some nice textures, keeps things nice and loose as well. Some masking tape. I often like to run tape along the borders of my pieces to peel off at the end to give a nice clean finish. So it frames things nicely. And some Daler-Rowney system-free acrylic, which I tend to mix with these magic inks. Okay, so that's about all we'll be using for this piece. All of these you can get in pretty much any art shop. They're inexpensive but quite effective, I find. So on to the next section of the video. Okay, let's draw Carnage. So at the moment I'm using a light pencil to loosely flesh out the character. I've got a rough concept in my head, but I'm going to be quite spontaneous and nothing's too set in stone at the moment. I thought it'd be nice to have the character in a crouching position so I can have a nice bit of dynamic, fit him nicely on the paper. Have his hand in the foreground like that. So when I start getting a bit more happy with the way things are looking, I'll start to focus on a little area like the face and start filling in the details. I'm using the Pro markers there to blot in some larger areas of shade. Then I'll use the black pens, the fine liners like I am there. And with a pencil then I can bridge the gap between the dark and the lighter shades. I'm using a 6B there, which is a nice pencil to do that. I thought it'd be nice to have the face as the main focal area, so I'm hoping I'll be able to balance the image in a way to draw the eye towards the face and the hand in the foreground. The nice thing about drawing a character like this, you've got loads of textures to work with, so you can have a bit of fun and lots of artistic license to make things look interesting. Whereas if you were drawing a woman or a man in that sort of position, you'd be dealing with lots of flat areas, like the shoulder would be round and smooth.
So with this you can add veins and details to make things look interesting. At this stage I've got no idea what sort of background I'm going to put on the image. Thought I'd decide that as I'm in a later date and see how it's all looking and then do something that will hopefully complement the rest of the figure without distracting from them too much. So I'm outside now getting some vitamin D because I spend way too much time at my desk. Cooped up inside. So I'm using the Pro markers here a lot more to flesh out the basic shades. What I can do then is get a rough, almost like a sneak preview of how things might look. And it's still light enough for me to fix with darker shades, so I can work out, what shading needs to go here and there. So straight away I'm probably going to have the light source behind his right or his left shoulder. Or his left shoulder, yeah. So I'd have the left-hand side of the wrist, for example, would be darker. Not going to be too anal on light sources and things like that. I'd rather just do what looks best for the image. So let's wrap some masking tape around the corners so I can be a bit loose and sketch out into the further reaches of the paper without affecting the nice little white border I like to give my things. It's always satisfying peeling that off at the end. So here we are, I'm just working the other hands now, looking a bit more solid. Even though I've got like a whole pack of pencils, I tend to use only 4 typically. The 6B is usually the darkest I use. The Pro markers are really handy at this stage, so I can just fill in little shades. Using the brush pen there, black Faber-Castell brush pen, which is a real nice way to get into those little dark crevices of details. Then I can use the Pro marker, the dark grey one, to blend that, because you can almost work in layers, so I can build up the layers of the grey to an almost black, which will then blend nicely into the black fine liner, which is a little bit darker. So I decided to give him a skyscraper or building ledge to be perched on. So this is a very handy little area to use the Pro markers on, so you can blot in a large area of colour, and straight away you can see little textures there just from the use of the nib, and then I can turn those into cracks and add little details here and there. I drew a few more little tentacles roughly in, which I can then add details to and make it look a little bit more dynamic. I was thinking what sort of cityscape to do in the background. I didn't want to overcomplicate things and distract from the main character, so I thought I'd try and make this look very focal and add the details all on the character and this ledge, and then do a simplistic cityscape in the background, as I'm not a fan of drawing buildings, to be honest. Using the ruler just to mark out some basic perspectives. I thought I'd give him a night sky, so I'd add a moon over what would be the character's left-hand shoulder, on the right-hand side to us. So the light would be coming down to add a nice sense of drama to the image. He'd be a bit more in silhouette in all honesty, but I don't really care for that. I'm not really too anal about those sort of things. Anyways, I like to have a different toy figure on my desk every day. Weird little ritual of mine. That was just, the do not close was just put on my laptop because I was trying to, import this footage onto my laptop. I didn't want people closing it while it was importing overnight. There he is, that's the moon. Using all glass to draw that in. I'm using the Magic Colour inks. I have a little bit of acrylic just to fill in the night sky. Okay, apologies for my big head getting into shot here. Right, so at this moment now I've got a clear idea of how everything's looking, so I can really go in with all the darker areas and bring out the shades where I need to. And the good thing about having a background at this stage is you can work on those sort of areas with a sort of intuitive knowing of where light's going to be falling and things like that. Admittedly, the character would be a lot more in silhouette if this was a realism piece, but it's not. It's actually looking a lot more cartoony than I expected or planned, but I'm kind of happy with that. And the pro markers come in very, very handy here at this stage. It's just a nice way to gently add layers of shade. Just using the black there to really emphasise those areas with darker shadows and add a bit more dynamic to the image. You see a bit more clearer there. It's quite hard trying to fight the light glare, especially when you're filming. I found that was a bit of a nightmare. So here I am, I've just attached a page to a bit of canvas so I can flick some toothbrush splatter on it. Yeah, I'm doing a bit of a crude job here. Sometimes I'd make a mask for these sort of things, but to be honest I couldn't be bothered. And I was going to go in anyway and touch up the areas where the splatter's accidentally gone on. Something I like doing about splatting the paint like that, it sort of brings a nice randomness to things. I usually feel I'm very controlled with everything that I'm doing, and I like the fact that when I do that it brings in a bit of a random, haphazard element to my work. I also whacked in a bit of white paint on the moon just to add a bit of texture. Sort of a nod to what Simon Bisley does, one of my favourite artists. Just popping in some white acrylic there on the various areas just to really boost the brightness. Okay, so I'm just peeling off the masking tape now to reveal a nice clean white border underneath. It's just a little preference of mine on these sort of images, it helps frame things nicely. I think this image would have benefited a bit more being in colour. I mean, Carnage is red and black, that's what makes him look so iconic. But I might do a part 2 of this video at some point, and then we can see how we look in colour. And now the final thing to do is add my signature. I find this is my way of wrapping something up mentally. I'll often find my pieces always need to have a little bit more done to them, or like a piece is never finished, so this is just a way I feel like job done, onto the next project. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you found it insightful. Let me know if you'd like to see some more videos like this. Please leave comments in the section below. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll be sure to make some more videos for you. Cheers.